looks like it. Yeah, it's a cute picture. Oh, cute picture. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know if the microphone is she still working on that?
I don't know.
Josh. Well, Josh, I guess is the teenager there. And he just, and Barbara looks like she's dyed her hair or something. It's so dark. And her shower is, it all looks so serious. Shelly. I just call her Shelly. Yeah, Shelly. That's what actually. You call her that. Yeah. Yeah. When I first met him, I thought that was his name, Shelly. That was confusing because and the spelling is weird over here. It's Shelby. That says bronze. But then,
Updated. The cameras are working. It's just obvious. And every time I look at them, that's why it senses it. I can't figure out why there's no. That's weird. It's all kind
Good afternoon. With those beautiful sounds surrounding us, I want to welcome you here. I'm Reverend Teresa Rolfe. I'm the Minister of Pastoral Care at the First Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ann Arbor. Along with Rob Meyer-Kukan, we are honored to be with you this afternoon, and thank you for each being present today as we celebrate the life of Donald Sheldon Freund. I'm just going to check. Can you hear me okay? The microphone's not on. All right. You can't at any point.
You need to speak a little louder.
I will do as best I can. You could also move up to the front couple rows if that's helpful too. I'll do the best I can, but let me know, okay? As many of you here know, the name Donald might sound odd to you, as you knew him as Sheldon, or Shell, or Shelley. And for others, the family name of Freund, which actually means friend in German, might also sound odd. Especially in the latter part of his life, Shell would pronounce his last name as Freund. Certainly it's an appropriate name for him in either language, as he was a friend to so many. When someone within our circle of connection dies, friend, a family, from chosen family, we gather in community to grieve, to remember, and to celebrate a life we were connected to. We gather in show of support for each other, and in particularly for Sheldon's family. We welcome the comfort that comes from being together. Being together creates a space and a way for us to heal, even in the midst of sorrow. Each of you come to this gathering with your own faith or personal beliefs that are sustaining and comforting. Today, in this space, we recognize the diversity of experiences you each bring with you, and know that you are welcome here just as you are. We begin today's gathering by lighting a chalice. The chalice flame is a reminder that there's an everlasting spark of love, some say the spark of the divine, within each of us. And Sheldon certainly had that spark within him. So as we do this, and as we hold some moments of silence, allow the sounds that you hear to wash over you. Let the sounds of the chant calling forth cosmic peace be of comfort. Just breathe gently in and out. Just be in this moment, right now. I invite Joshua, Sheldon's son, to help light our chalice.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Om. Om Shanti 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 Namaste. Om.
Our first reading is offered by Shell's neighbor, Barbara Dai. It is a quote from the Buddhist priest and philosopher Nichiren Daishonin. Death will come to each of us someday. We can die having fought hard for our beliefs and convictions, or we can die having failed to do so. Since the reality of death is the same in either case, isn't it far better that we set out on our journey toward the next existence in high spirits with a bright smile on our faces, knowing that in everything we did the best we could, and thrilling with the sense that that was truly an interesting life. Dear friends, I think you will come to see that Shelley's journey towards the next existence was one that was indeed thrilling. It was indeed a truly interesting life. I will be reading short quotes and poems paired with a remembrance from family and friends. Each of these will add to the complex picture of who Shelley was and how he lived his life. It's a lot to take in, so we'll have some short musical interludes, during which I invite you to simply be in this space, and allow the sound to surround you, and to feel your connection with Shelley. The next quote is by an author, Alethea Luna. The old soul is more inclined to be a lifetime learner, constantly feeding his thirst for insight through his own persistent efforts. His learning has not been forced into him through education or learned out of obligation. It has been absorbed out of curiosity and personal choice. Now I will read a remembrance by family friend Karen Froelich Morgan. Karen writes, I met the Freund family when I was in New York with my mother visiting my grandparents. What a fun and loving family they were. My memories of Shelley extended to California when they moved very close to my permanent residence. If I wanted a restaurant with fabulous food and low cost, Shelley was the one to ask. If I wanted assistance with homeopathic remedies, Shelley was a wealth of knowledge. If I were seeking an art or cultural event, Shelley always knew of a fabulous get-together. There is always fun and laughter connected to Sheldon. My mother and I had many friends in common with Sheldon. I was able to observe his more serious side, which was caring, kind, and full of the desire to help others. I became emotionally very close to Shelley's wife, Barbara, and his son, Josh. We spent many wonderful hours together enjoying the beauty of nature and each other's company. Shelley was a staunch believer in the negative ions in natural surroundings, like the ocean and the forest, sending forth healing and strengthening energy to humans. It was through his knowledge of this subject that I became inspired to investigate and align with nature. The inspiration that I received from Shelley and his family enabled me to evolve. I will be forever grateful. To Karen's words. Next reading is an excerpt from William Wordsworth's ode, Imitations of Immortality from Recollections of Early Childhood. What through the radiance which was once so bright be now forever taken from my sight, though nothing to bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower? We will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind, in the primal sympathy which having been must ever be, in the soothing thoughts that spring out of human suffering, in the faith that looks through death, in years that bring the philosophic mind. David Bedell had a 48-year relationship with his brother-in-law. David will now share a few stories.
One of the things that Shell was really good at, I hope my voice carries all the way across the classroom. One of the things that Shell was really good at was playing the role of matchmaker. On a winter fly fishing trip for steelhead, arranged as a birthday gift from Josh for my 74th birthday, Shell arranged a surprise diversion to the town of Frankfurt, where at a coffee shop called Perks and Pebbles, I was introduced to Carolyn. We four sat together in front of the fireplace with our coffees while I learned quite a bit about Carolyn. Shell had known her from when she was a resident 3 years prior at Lurie Terrace, an apartment tower in Ann Arbor, where Shell resided. Unbeknownst to me, Shell had suggested to Carolyn that we had a good number of commonalities. Shell told her about my being a teacher and an artist like her, that I taught writing at the University of Michigan Dearborn and had been employed as an illustrator for a Detroit ad studio and Ford Motor Company. Shell encouraged me to use the phone number I had been given to arrange a date with Carolyn. I subsequently did, and am happy to say turned out to be a wonderful new love and partner in my life. So for my 74th birthday in December 2014, I didn't catch any steelhead, but I got Carolyn. Along with the experience of guided winter fly fishing with Shell on the Boardman and a Thai birthday dinner in Traverse City. Where do I go next in recounting 48 years of experiences with brother-in-law Shell? One experience included visiting Shell and Barbara's Brooklyn apartment in New York when Josh was still small, featuring the antique, heavy, full-service barbershop chair. How did they ever get that monster up the stairs and into that little apartment? Shell's large, abstract oil canvases were on the walls, and Josh's model trolley rail layout was set up on a sheet of plywood. I remember many visits. One, a holiday visit by Barbara, teenager Josh, and Shell to Dearborn one winter when my wife, Linda, and I wore them out hunting for the ideal Christmas tree on a tree farm. And then the tree trimming, and they were all Jewish, including my wife Linda, and I was the only so-called Christian. Shell considered a visit to Dearborn as a visit to the country, as compared to the exciting, hectic hustle and bustle of New York City. There was a time Linda and I visited them in New York, not New York, as in New Jersey, as Josh was growing up and Shell was working for the Louis Braille Foundation for Blind Musicians. There was visiting with Shell in LA after the breakup of Shell's marriage with Barbara, usually with my wife Linda and nephew Josh at table, with Shell always witty and charming and full of characteristic humor while dining out at LA's soup and salad restaurants. Then there were my visits with Shell in Ann Arbor after Linda had died and I was living part-time in Mid-Coast, Maine. Shell suggested I should write a book about my experiences of a relationship I had there in Maine. I think Shell was trying to get me to write since I was a writing instructor and often talked about my writing ambitions. Shell found my stories about being very amusing. At one point, he got other people around us. We're at Whole Foods restaurant. We were sitting out of doors at tables, and other people around us started getting involved in what we were talking about. And they participated in a discussion and had favorable comments about a film everybody endorsed, and which Shell referenced in conjunction with my main experiences. The film was Misery from 1990, featuring a woman who breaks a writer's ankles with a hammer in order to prevent his leaving her. At these Ann Arbor visits, a number of them in our later years, over the salad bar at Whole Foods, not far from the Lurie Terrace apartment, Shell always was informed, charming and encouraging, friendly and social, amusing and witty as heck. Lakeport Park, a state park on the shore of Lake Huron, just north of Port Huron. That's where I think I met Shell and little Josh, who was only 6 and knee-high, for the first time. We all, Shell, Barbara, Josh, Linda, and I, played at tossing a frisbee on the sandy beach. Linda and I had just gotten married. Shell and family were in town to participate in the reception dinner for us newlyweds. Shell and family were loaned the use of a nice cottage for a couple of nights. There, despite it being the month of May with summertime temperatures, Barbara insisted on a fire in the cottage's big stone fireplace, as she felt that would be especially charming and romantic. So Shell complied and built a fire to please Barbara, despite how warm it was in mid-May. Later that day, Josh, allowed by his parents to ride with us newlyweds in our aging black Volkswagen sedan, sat on my lap as Linda drove while Josh played with our compact birding binoculars. We followed Shell and Barbara as they drove back to their Sanilac beach cottage. I think it's telling and interesting that Shell recommended as a remedy for the safety defects and risk of riding in and driving a small foreign car, that having the front fenders filled or saddled with bags of beach sand and sandbags in the front trunk would aid considerably in the event of a front-end collision by providing a buffering medium. This was typical of Shell to be concerned with others' well-being and safety, and so come up with clever, creative solutions for serious problems involving design and innovative materials. This penchant for advice and advocacy fell in line with his lifelong pursuit of good health and helpfulness in relaying advice and recommending supplements and alternative medicine solutions for various health problems with his friends, relatives, and even acquaintances, the problems they were experiencing.
As you just heard, Dave and Carolyn met thanks to Shell's matchmaking skills. And now Carolyn Craw, will share her remembrance of that event and a few other memories from the past 12 years.
It's wonderful to be here and to think about Shell. It was so much fun at Lori Terrace. I'm so grateful that Miss Lori Terrace, terrestrians, he called us. I met Shell when I moved into Lori Terrace senior housing in Ann Arbor 2011. I was there. Okay, my voice is low.
The microphone's not.
Okay, I'll speak louder. It's a little easier.
You move to this route, it would be easier to hear. It's up to you.
Maybe I'll move it out.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. So I met Shell when I moved to Lori Terrace housing in 2011. I was up there to do a one-year mentoring at the Waldorf school, and the teacher decided to quit. And so they were without a teacher after school started, and so they said, will you stay? But I live way up north, but so I had to find a place to live. So Lori Terrace was the perfect place. I always called it a dorm for senior citizens. There was lots of fun going on, like college dorm. Shell's, oh yeah, I told you that right. Shell was quite the community builder, and he always was creating events and having fun and just full of fun. And he always, like David said, had an interest in everybody and always had tidbits for you. Oh, you should eat this oatmeal, or you should do this or do this. And he always had a new, well, you could do. It was like over the top sometimes, but it's okay. He was a great listener and appreciated who you were, regardless of differences in faith, politics, or philosophy. Once he knew my interests, he invited me to go to a U of M performance of the Requiem because he thought I would enjoy it. He was right on. He was such a gentleman. We shared other fun outings in Ann Arbor. And I remember one night walking home late, so late from walking around in town, they were washing the streets of the sidewalks. When my teaching ended and I was heading home, he threw a going away party for me. And we emailed once in a while. It was right after that he connected with your mom because we were just all, I think they were doing tango dancing then. And he was so excited about that because they were a perfect match to do that. Okay, and then 3 years later, he called saying he and Josh were bringing Josh's uncle up my way to celebrate his birthday, and maybe we could all meet up. They didn't tell him ahead of time. And so Shell thought we could enjoy meeting each other because we were both teachers and artists. So I agreed to meet for coffee, which went so well. I went on with them to David's favorite Sleeping Bears Dunes, which is up there. It's a very special place. I think there's pictures. I don't know if there's the pictures of all of us. It's like a family picture. A few weeks later, David called and came back to visit. It became a regular visit that has turned into a 9-year companionship for life. Josh and Shell continue to visit us, and we are definitely have become a family. We love Josh so much. He's just our favorite person. Recently,